Welcome to Faith and Freedom. For the next few minutes, we hope to inform, inspire, and encourage you as we discuss legal victories and challenges to your fundamental freedom and religious liberties. Faith and Freedom comes to you from Liberty Counsel, a civil liberties education and legal defense organization. Join us now as Matt Staver, founder and chairman of Liberty Counsel, explains the latest legal issues all across this country. In the courtrooms of America, Liberty Counsel is winning the battle for your constitutional freedom.
Bad news for liberals and Planned Parenthood is good news for truth, life, and the innocent preborn. I'm Matt Barber, Vice President of Liberty Counsel Action, on the phone again with Peter LaBarbera, President of Americans for Truth. Pete, I know you have a moving story about your family and abortion and Down syndrome and so forth. I want to get to that in a minute, but Life News is reporting that the Huffington Post, who I think broke this story, had breathlessly was worried and reporting about abortion clinics shutting down all over the country. According to the HuffPo, at least 54 abortion providers across 27 states have shut down or ended their abortion services in the past 3 years. Pete, people are waking up to the truth about the horrors of abortion and the lies associated with those who worship at the altar of so-called choice.
Yeah, this is a great story. I mean, Planned Parenthood, to see Planned Parenthood actually hurting is a good thing. Planned Parenthood not only is the world's, I believe, the world's largest abortion business, but it also promotes some of the nastiest sexual messages you've ever seen, Matt. I don't know if you've seen some of these on video, these vulgar, homosexual, bisexual, all this perversion that they're selling, because obviously they want young people to be promiscuous, because that leads to more abortions, which gives them more business. But in my family, I have a brother, younger brother, Jimmy, who was born with Down syndrome. I know that, I don't know what the exact figures, I believe something like 90% of all Downs babies are aborted in the womb. There's something called the amnio test, maybe other tests that tell a woman that she has a baby with Downs. And sometimes these tests are not accurate, by the way. And then the doctor comes in heavy with the recommendation, if it's a Downs child, you can abort that child. And so our family's been tremendously blessed by my brother Jimmy. He now lives in a group home in Michigan, and the idea of aborting people because they're imperfect is literally Nazi-esque.
Yeah, no, it is, and it's all rooted in eugenics. Planned Parenthood is rooted in eugenics. As you know, Margaret Sanger was a white supremacist. She's the founder of Planned Parenthood. And even today, Pete,
she didn't like black people.
No, she didn't. And our friend Lila Rose with Live Action caught Planned Parenthoods all around the country in a sting. They asked if they could target black people for abortion and earmark monies specifically to abort black babies. They said, sure, your money is good. We'll target black babies. Well, Planned Parenthood does target black children, minority children, Hispanic children specifically. And, as Justice Ginsburg, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, recently admitted, shockingly, she said, I thought it was to get rid of the lesser thans or the undesirables. That was the whole purpose of Roe v. Wade. So there's Ruth Bader Ginsburg getting in touch with Planned Parenthood's eugenic roots. Well, people are fed up with it. The truth about that abortion has nothing to do with choice and everything about dismembering an innocent human being. People are getting it now, right?
Absolutely. And, liberals are such hypocrites. They talk about the little guy, looking out for the little guy. Well, who's the most helpless, innocent people on the planet? Yeah. Our unborn children in the womb. They literally are, their safe space is invaded by toxic chemicals and knives and anything to dismember them or basically, toxify them. It's disgusting. It's criminal. And yet liberals who purport to be the compassionate ones in our society are all about crusading for the so-called right to abortion.
Well, the hypocrisy is palpable. I was thinking of President Obama, who before he was first elected was standing before Planned Parenthood, he saying that, he recently asked for people to pray for Planned Parenthood. I mean, yeah,
Right.
but he is saying that
We can pray that they be shut down. I guess that's
well,
the only prayer for Planned Parenthood.
and so far, those prayers, it looks like they're being answered, and that's the good news. Well, Obama stood up there and said the first thing he would do is pass the Freedom of Choice Act, which would do away with all reasonable, common sense restrictions on the multi-billion-dollar abortion industry. Now you hear him railing against the horrific, admittedly horrific use of chemical weapons in Syria, yet Obama endorses the use of chemical weapons every day right here in the United States. Children are burned alive in their mother's womb with chemicals, killed in a horrific, painful death, even more painful than those poor children in Syria. And so he endorses chemical weapons, and he has the gall to stand up and say that he is against the use of chemical weapons.
Yeah, it's this phony liberalism. I mean, this is violence in the womb. These are the people, again, who talk about compassion. And I think abortion is the issue of it seems wonderful that young people are more and more pro-life at the polls show. What's frightening is it seems like even amidst our moral collapse, the people are more pro-life at the same time. So it's sort of interesting. I think it's a tribute to all the work that pro-lifers have done over the years. And the left used to say that it was a blob of tissue. Remember?
Yeah.
I remember Ann Stone of Republicans for Choice. I think she compared it to just a blob,
a non-viable
and now
massive
there's ultrasound.
Tissue. Yeah.
There's ultrasound, and we know it's a human being in the womb. Of course, the liberals who always lecture us about science, they're not interested in the science of ultrasound, which is proving the humanity of the unborn.
Pete, you mentioned something earlier that I want to address again because I think it's important. Planned Parenthood, they again are a multi-billion-dollar industry. Abortion, they make millions of dollars through abortion. Well, they have a great revolving door marketing scheme. They promote sexual promiscuity. Take Care Down There was a campaign they had geared toward teenagers, vulgar, disgusting, encouraging kids to experiment with homosexuality and with just promiscuous behavior. Oh, but always practice safe sex, which we know fails across the board. We've seen the numbers exponentially since the advent of the safe sex movement. Disease is rife. Teen pregnancy has gone up and so forth. So they have a conflict of interest, don't they? Encouraging sexual promiscuity and then reaping the benefits when they go through and kill the byproduct of that, innocent children.
Absolutely. I mean, we don't want to treat teenagers like animals. And the idea of encouraging promiscuous sex, they used to say safe. On the homosexual side, they had to change it to safer because anal sodomy is just not safe.
Yeah.
But the idea of teaching kids, now it's expanding under the rubric of comprehensive sex ed. Matt, they want to teach homosexual sex practices. Are they going to try to teach safe anal sex? I mean, this is outrageous, and parents don't know. Do you know that SECUS, the Sexual Information Education Council of the U.S., I believe that's what it stands for, SECUS advocates teaching kids ages 5 to 8 about masturbation. Can you believe that?
Yeah. Well, Peter, just a couple of years ago, the Department of Health and Human Services, I believe it was, linked to a bunch of Keynesian information encouraging kids to experiment with homosexuality and masturbation. And we broke a story on that recently. I mean, this is their push, and this is all part of the sexual anarchy movement. The larger anything goes, no moral standards whatsoever. And whether it's the homosexual lobby, the abortion lobby, the radical feminist lobby, they're all one and the same, aren't they? Quickly.
Yeah, and if they were honest, if liberals were honest about sex ed on the homosexual issue, they would teach that homosexual sex, especially for males, is dangerous. Man, I've talked about the statistic that we found on a CDC website of young men ages, and boys actually, and young men, ages 13 to 24, 94 to 95% of them who have HIV, 94 to 95% are due to male homosexual sex. So we know that homosexual sex is dangerous. If they were going to be honest in sex ed classes, they would say, don't practice homosexual sex.
Well, 1 out of 5 men who engage and adolescents who engage in homosexual behavior, folks, will contract HIV/AIDS. 40% plus won't even know it. That's according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. We've got to stop this madness, folks, pushing a dangerous, self-destructive agenda. Planned Parenthood pushing the destruction of human life and the behaviors that lead to the pregnancy to keep their coffers full. Liberty Counsel is standing against Planned Parenthood and all of the evil that they are pushing on Americans. Go to lc.org or give us a call, 1-800-671-1776.
You have been listening to Faith and Freedom with Liberty Counsel. We hope that we have motivated you to stand up for your faith, family, and freedom. We can accomplish a lot when we work together. Get informed and get involved today. Sign up for our free monthly newsletter, The Liberator. We will send it out to you free of charge. Stay informed with our Liberty Alert email updates. Just click on the website at www.lc.org or call us at 1-800-671-1776. Tune in next time to learn more about your rights right here on Faith and Freedom.